Good morning everyone. Myself Jaya Agarwal, Assistant Professor Political Science, SBCGC Ajmer. This is paper second or BA part second. Name of the book is Indian Political System, and in this video we are going to study about the functioning of the Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly uh, played a greater role and a very important role in the making of world's longest constitution, as well as, I must say, world's best constitution. So we will have a look that how the Constituent Assembly worked, how the committees at that time worked, and how the whole process went on at that time. So let's start. The first session of the assembly was held on December 9, 1946. The Muslim League boycotted the session and demanded a separate constituent assembly for Muslims. So this is crucial that this is very important that our first session of this Constituent Assembly was held on December 9, 1946. That's mean the functioning of the Constituent Assembly to make a constitution for India. It started working on December 9, 1946. This is the date when it started working, and the Muslim League boycotted the session, and it demanded a separate constituent assembly for Muslims. Therefore, the members of Muslim League who got elected in elections held in July 1946 were not a part of this Constituent Assembly. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was appointed as pro tem president of the assembly, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected the permanent president on December 11, 1946. When the Constituent Assembly started working, first of all, it appointed a pro tem president for itself for the smooth functioning of the Constituent Assembly. So the pro tem president was Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, and permanent president was Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who got elected as permanent president on December 11, 1946. B.N. Rao was appointed constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru introduced his historic objective resolution in the Assembly on December 13, 1946, which was subsequently passed on January 22nd of January 1947, and forms part of the preamble to the Constitution of India. Here comes B.N. Rao, who played a significant role, as well as along with other leaders and members of the Constituent Assembly, and he was appointed as constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly. And the most important thing was objective resolution, which can be said it laid foundation of the preamble to the Constitution of India. And that's mean our preamble today, which preamble we read that is based on the objective resolution introduced by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in the Assembly. The draft constitution was passed by the Assembly on November 26, 1949, with the signatures of 284 members, and some of the provisions of the constitution came into effect on the same day, and the rest of the constitution became effective on January 26, 1950. When we talk about draft constitution, we will talk about draft constitution in detail later, but our constitution which was discussed at that time so deeply, it was based on the recommendations of the draft committee at that time, and some of the provisions of the constitution that were of much importance at that time came into effect on the same day, and rest of the constitution became effective on January 26, 1950. For framing the Indian constitution, the constitution makers had gone through the constitutions of 60 countries to make our constitution the world's best constitution, and our constitution makers tried their best that no drawbacks or shortcomings should be there in our constitution, and we will try our best to make the best constitution, to provide the best constitution for the generations to come. Therefore constitutions of 60 countries were gone through they were gone through from these they were gone through these constitutions of 60 countries, and selective provisions were incorporated in our constitution, and the major work of the assembly was done by its various committees such as rules of procedure committee, committee for negotiations with states, steering committee, orders of business committee, etc. The drafting committee headed by Dr. Ambedkar was the most important committee of the Constituent Assembly. Drafting committee, we have already discussed it as our constitution is mainly based on the recommendations made by the drafting committee, and each and every recommendation or suggestion or provision made by this committee was deeply discussed by the Constituent Assembly, by the members of the Constituent Assembly, and after thorough discussion, every provision which today we see in our constitution was incorporated in our constitution. That's all for today from my side. Thank you very much.